You are not ready for this. The sports world just collided with the rap game in the most explosive, unexpected, and downright savage way imaginable. Terrence "Bud" Crawford, yes, the undefeated welterweight king, just dropped a diss track aimed directly at none other than Drake. And the internet can't breathe. We're talking brutal bars, no holds barred, full Kendrick energy. Not subliminal, not subtle. We're talking lyrical uppercuts, so sharp they had Ovo scrambling behind the scenes within hours. This isn't just some rapper trying to play boxer, or a fighter dabbling with a freestyle. This is real. This is personal. And according to insiders, this might just be the start of a war that could break both industries in half. What sparked it? Was it a shady comment? A behind-the-scenes beef? Something deeper? Like betrayal, pride, or even family? Whatever the trigger, one thing is clear. Crawford didn't just throw a jab, he went for Drake's entire legacy. And fans are shocked. Tensions are high, the timelines are exploding, and even a few big names have already picked sides. But the most terrifying part, word is, this wasn't just a one-off. This might be round one. Stay right here because we're breaking down the entire drama. Every lyric, every reaction, and every twist that's got hip-hop and boxing holding their breath. It's Crawford versus Drake, and it's way more than rap. It all started with a smirk. Not a diss track, not a press conference. Just a smirk. Terrence Crawford was sitting courtside at a basketball game in Los Angeles when the Jumbotron cut to him. The crowd erupted in applause. He nodded, raised a fist. And then the camera cut to Drake, just a few seats away. Same row, 10 feet apart. Drake waved. Crawford looked straight at him, and smiled. Not a friendly smile, not a fan smile. The kind of smile that says, I know something you don't. The clip went viral in under an hour. Fans immediately started speculating, was there tension? Why were these two even at the same game? They'd never been linked before, but the story didn't really explode until 2 days later, when Crawford posted a cryptic tweet. Some boys write poetry, others live war. No hashtags. It's just that. But it didn't take long for fans to make the connection, especially when he followed it up with a selfie in a recording studio, headphones on. Eyes focused. It was the caption that really lit the fire. Let me show you what undisputed sounds like. Social media went into meltdown. Boxing fans were confused. Hip-hop heads were intrigued. And Drake stans, they were furious. No one could quite figure out what Crawford was doing. Was he just having fun? Was this some side project? Or was it something more serious? And then the diss track dropped. No warning, no teaser. It's just a midnight upload on SoundCloud titled No Ovation. Within minutes, listeners realized this wasn't just some novelty track. This wasn't a boxer playing around with rap. This was calculated, sharp, and brutal. A full-blown lyrical assassination with laser-guided precision. The first verse alone had fans gasping. You sing for the streams. I bleed for the crown. Sold out arenas, but you still need the sound. Bought your respect, but I earned every round. Had your name in their mouth, but it's silence when I'm in town. The second verse, even more savage. You dance on the charts, but you shake when it's heat. I lace up my gloves. You lace up a beat, they love your persona. I live what you tweet. I retired men's careers. You just sing to the weak. Name wasn't mentioned directly, but the message was clear. Every line dripped with intent, and the flow, shockingly tight, surprisingly confident. Crawford wasn't just talking, he was rapping like he meant it. Like he'd been waiting to unload this for years, and then came the third verse. The one that made even Drake's harshest critics pause. Six God. More like sitcom God. You write about pain, I write it in blood. You soft on your hits. I'm hard with the gloves. One-man empire, yours got a sub. That last line hit hard, too hard. Yours got a sub. Fans instantly clocked it as a reference to the rumors about Drake using ghostwriters, a jab that Kendrick and Pusha had once danced around, but Crawford punched through directly. But the most chilling moment wasn't lyrical at all. It was the ending. The track faded out, and instead of silence, Crawford's voice echoed. Low and calm. This is what undisputed sounds like. We don't need a hook. That one line was quoted across every platform. We don't need a hook. Became a rallying cry. Fans tweeted it, posted it, memed it, and argued over it. Even longtime rap fans had to admit this was something different. Drake's team didn't respond publicly, but insiders leaked that things behind the scenes were tense. Apparently, the track caught them completely off guard. No one expected Crawford, of all people, to come for hip-hop's most visible name, especially with bars that could hold weight. And then came the reactions. Meek Mill tweeted a laughing emoji followed by, "Told y'all it was coming from the left field." Joe Button, on his podcast, called the track dangerously competent and warned that Drake needed to checkmate or fall back. But the most shocking response came from J. Cole. He posted a cryptic Instagram story showing a pair of boxing gloves hung on a mic stand, with the words, "Some beefs hit harder than others." Fans speculated wildly. Was Cole siding with Crawford or just adding fuel to the fire? And things only got messier when Crawford went live on Instagram that night. Thousands joined instantly. The comments flew by too fast to read. Crawford was sitting in the studio.com, almost too calm. He wasn't hyping himself up or talking trash. He just played the track again straight through, then turned to the camera and said, "This wasn't rap. This was a reminder. Some of us actually fight for a living." Then he ended the live. Nothing more. Nothing less. The impact. Immediate. Sports shows picked it up the next morning. Stephen A. Smith debated the diss on First Take, calling it one of the most unexpected moves in sports entertainment crossover history. Shannon Sharpe laughed for a full minute before saying, "I didn't know Crawford had it in him." But listen. That boy came for blood. But what really stunned fans was the personal angle. Because soon after the track went viral, rumors started leaking about what really triggered it, according to sources close to Crawford's camp. This wasn't random. Apparently, Crawford's younger cousin, a rising amateur boxer, had reached out to Drake's camp months ago for a feature on a documentary project. The project was about Black excellence in sports and music, and they wanted Drake's voice for the intro. Drake's single quotes S team declined, but not politely. Allegedly. Someone on Drake's management squad replied with, "Not interested in giving bars to nobodies." That line, nobodies, reportedly got back to Crawford. And it wasn't just business anymore. It was personal. And once you connect that moment to the diss track, the lines hit even harder. You don't write for the people. You just ghost on the poor. Talk rich from the palace, never open the door. Fans started piecing everything together. The courtside smirk. The studio posts. The calculated lyrics. It wasn't clout chasing. Was payback. And just when the buzz was peaking, a new track leaked. Not from Crawford. But from Drake. Unofficial. Unconfirmed. A 45-second clip posted by a burner account with the username WheelchairChamp6. The audio was rough, but the voice, unmistakably Drake, and the bars, clearly aimed. Gloves on, mask off, he think he's Kendrick now. Talk war. But we've seen what you do in the 10th round. I rap pain. You live pride. That's a thin crown boxing bars. I've been jabbing since? Take care, sit down. The internet erupted. Was this the first counter-strike? Would Drake go all in? Or was this just a teaser to test the waters? As part 1 ends, the stage is now fully set. A champion in the ring versus a king of the charts. Egos are bruised, fans are fired up. And one question is louder than ever. Did Terrence Crawford just start a war Drake can't finish? Because just hours after that mysterious leak, The one fans are now calling the Wheelchair Champ 6 tape. Terrence Crawford dropped a response so fast it didn't even seem possible. The track was titled Goosebumps in Gucci, and it hit streaming platforms like a sledgehammer. 30 minutes. That's all it took. No teaser, no promo, just fire in the booth and a message on his Instagram story. You had the mic. Oh, I got the moment and the bars. They weren't just harder. They were surgical. He raps about trust, but he ducks every fade, has security thicker than the label he made. Throw shots from a tower. I swing from the blade, said Undisputed. Once, now your whole image decayed. Fans went insane. Reddit threads exploded. Reactions poured in from rappers, fighters, and even retired legends. Some called it genius, others reckless. But one thing was clear. Crawford wasn't backing down. In fact, he was doubling down. But it was the second verse that truly flipped the internet upside down. Because this time, Crawford named names. Jay Prince told me chill, said he fragile inside, said the boy got his demons. Trying hard just to hide, but when you diss little cousins, then karma decides. I don't do sneak disses, I go straight for the pride. The crowd gasped. Could feel it online, that digital pause like everyone's thumbs froze. Mid-scroll. Crawford had just dragged Jay Prince into the ring. Drake's mentor, his longtime protector in the shadows of the industry, and by name, no less. Suddenly, this wasn't just lyrical, it was political. Industry political. But the track didn't stop there. 40 gave you silence. I give you sound when the weight gets real. Your team ain't around, champagne poppy, but you drowning in rounds. Your tour's called It's All a Blur. Now, look what I found. Even people who weren't fans of Crawford had to admit it. The man had taken the beef and elevated it into a full-blown art form. His delivery was raw, yes, but it had clarity, focus, purpose. And with each bar, he blurred the line further between fighter and rapper, making everyone ask, was he always this good? The answer came quickly in the form of an unexpected revelation. An interview resurfaced. From 2014, a YouTube video with barely 5,000 views at the time, now trending globally. In it, a young Crawford, just after winning one of his early world titles, sits on a cracked leather couch in Omaha and says something nobody paid attention to then. Music was my first love. I used to write verses before I even boxed, had a notebook full of bars. But then I found the gloves. Fans were stunned. The clues had been there all along. This wasn't some midlife hobby. This was unfinished business. And now, 10 years later, the mic had found its way back into Crawford's hands, and he wasn't letting go. But while Crawford was celebrating wins in the court of public opinion, Drake's team was scrambling. According to one industry insider, Ovos Inner Circle had called an emergency meeting just 12 hours after Goosebumps in Gucci dropped. Not because of the content, but because of the reactions. The insider said Drake ain't scared of bars, never has been. But this ain't about lyrics anymore. Crawford is pulling people into this. Names, legacy, family. And that makes it dangerous. And the danger became all too real when Crawford dropped his third track in less than 4 days. Gloves Off, Round 3. This time he rapped over a minimalist piano beat, letting his voice cut through like a cold wind. You, the face of a label. I'm the face of a fight. You go viral for antics. I go viral for rights. You rap like you hurt. But you sleep in the lights. I put fear in grown men. You put filters on life. This was the Crawford fans didn't expect. Calm, introspective, but cold. He wasn't shouting, he wasn't performing, he was delivering facts, or at least what felt like facts. And that made every bar hit harder. Meanwhile, Drake remained silent, completely silent. No posts, no likes, no cryptic emojis, just ... silence. Some fans speculated he was cooking something massive. Others feared he was hesitating. But then, a voice we hadn't heard from in years stepped into the ring, Joe Budden, on his podcast. He addressed the Crawford versus Drake drama head-on. And what he said broke the internet. "I told y'all," Budden said, leaning into the mic. "Drake is a genius. But this right here, this is dangerous for him. Crawford is unpredictable. You can't cancel him. You can't meme him. He ain't looking for clout. He's venting. And when a man with nothing to lose starts talking, you listen." He continued, "Plus, y'all forget Drake's biggest weapon is surprise. But Crawford took that from him. Drake moves like a chess player. Crawford, he's a street fighter. And they play by different rules." The comment went viral. Fans quoted it everywhere. And suddenly a new narrative emerged that maybe, just maybe, Crawford had finally put Drake in a corner. And then came the twist. A leaked screenshot from a group chat, allegedly between some of the top figures in the industry. Dang it, a producer named Blurred claimed that Crawford had been offered a feature on a track with J. Cole ... months ago. The feature never happened. And the reason? Cole pulled out. Last minute, allegedly on advice from Drake's team. Fans went into full detective mode. They dug up interviews, tweets, studio logs. And while nothing was officially confirmed, it felt real. And in this story, perception was more powerful than proof. This bombshell gave new context to Crawford's line in Goosebumps in Gucci Thought. "Cole had my back, but he walked off the porch. Guess when labels whisper, the real ones contort." Was this whole beef really about one declined favor? Or was it a domino chain of industry snubs, silent betrayals, and strategic silence? Because by now, the narrative had shifted completely. It wasn't boxer versus rapper anymore. It was Crawford versus the machine. And fans loved it. In Omaha, a mural appeared overnight. Crawford holding a mic in one hand, a glove in the other. In Toronto, OVA loyalists marched through Queen Street with signs that read, "6 God versus 10 rounds." Meanwhile, neither Drake nor Crawford had made a public appearance since the third track dropped. Tension was rising. Pressure was building. And industry whispers hinted that both sides had more to drop, but just as fans thought the storm couldn't get wilder. A voice note leaked, a private voice message, allegedly from a well-known Toronto producer saying this: "Drake's got something. It's coming, but he's scared. Not of Crawford's bars, of how real it got too fast. This wasn't supposed to be a war." The silence before the storm never lasts forever. 3 days passed after the leak of the Toronto producer's voice note. 3 full days with no new tracks, no cryptic posts, no shady comments. Just tension hanging over both the hip-hop world and the boxing community like a thick, unshakable fog. Then it happened. Drake reappeared. No song. Not yet. Just a single photo posted to his story. A boxing ring. Dimly lit, empty except for a single microphone dangling from the ropes. Underneath, it for words. "Don't mistake peace for pause." Within minutes, the internet was in meltdown again. Fans dissected the image frame by frame. Was it symbolic? Was it a direct warning? Was this his way of saying the counterattack was coming? But the real shock came 12 hours later when Drake dropped Sweet Science, a 4-minute freestyle, over a vintage boom-bap beat, with jazzy undertones and a cold delivery that felt eerily like 2015 Drake. Not flashy, not commercial, just bars. And the first verse hit like a sniper round. He laced gloves. "I lace fears, built my kingdom with no peers. Tried to bring me in the ring, I've been dodging clowns for years." Drake was swinging back, calculated, elegant, with that signature under-your-skin tone that always made his disses feel personal without being loud. But it was the second verse where he struck deepest. "You play warrior. I play God. No entourage, just the squad, from Toronto to the charts. I don't swing, I nod." Fans were split. Some praised the subtlety. Others said it was too soft. But the final bar was the one that made headlines. You punch hard, but I ghost harder. Ben, Vuck, I breed authors, give authors. I read authors, you. Through jabs, I write martyrs. Suddenly, everything shifted. This wasn't just about Crawford anymore. This was about legacy, about who had the power to define greatness. One fought with gloves, the other with metaphors, and now both were claiming the same title, undisputed. But then came the real twist, a surprise drop. Crawford released round 4, Buried Gloves, a track that was somehow even more intense than the previous 3. This time, it opened with an actual recording of a boxing commentator announcing Crawford's name in a championship bout, slowly fading into a gritty, minimalist beat. And then, the voice almost to calm, Crawford rapped, I seen gods break, kings bend, labels beg, and brothers pretend. The lyrics were venomous, but more than that, they were personal. He wasn't just attacking Drake's fame or lyrics anymore. He was digging into something deeper. You said you ghost harder. You're right, you've been ghosting truth. Your whole life/silver spoons don't feed the fight, but they taught you how to script the strife. And then came the most chilling moment yet. A spoken word bridge where Crawford dropped the beat and said, you want a legacy, not war. But you can't have both when you built yours in the dark and I built mine with blood on the floor. Fans were stunned. Hip-hop media outlets exploded. YouTube reactors called it the hardest line in the entire beef. Even veteran MCs were chiming in. Stokis tweeted, yo, ... Crawford out here spittin' like he'd been in the basement since '98. But with praise came consequences. Because just hours after Buried Gloves dropped, Crawford's Instagram was temporarily taken down. No warning, no explanation. Came back up later, but all his previous posts related to the beef were mysteriously deleted. This led to wild speculation. Was this Ovo's legal team at work? Was this label pressure? Or something bigger? Industry gatekeeping trying to shut the narrative down before it went too far. Whatever the reason, it only fueled the fire Crawford took to Twitter, now known as X, and posted just one line. They tried to mute the gloves, but the echoes still swing. Within minutes, #mute OVO was trending. But just as fans prepared for round 5, the beef took an emotional left turn. An unexpected voice stepped into the ring, Crawford's own mother. In an interview with a local Omaha radio station, she opened up about her son's past, about how he used to write poems as a child, how his father left early, how music was his first escape. She said, Terrence didn't just fight to win. He fought because he was told he couldn't speak loud enough to be heard. The clip went viral. Even hardcore Drake fans had to admit it added a layer no one expected. This wasn't just bars and clout. This was pain. This was years of silence turning into sound. And then another twist, in the middle of all this chaos, Drake appeared on a podcast unexpectedly during a surprise phone call segment on Gilly the Kid's $1 million worth of game. His tone, calm, measured, but direct. Look, he said, I respect anyone who comes for me directly. Always have. And Bud, he did that. Didn't sneak, didn't whine. He went toe-to-toe. And I salute that. He continued. But let's not forget, bars are bars. And when you step into this ring, it ain't about how hard you punch. It's about who walks away with the crowd. Some fans applauded the maturity. Others saw it as deflection. But Crawford's response came quickly. A voice memo posted to his X page. I don't rap for the crowd. I rap for the ones that bled beside me. And with that, the emotional tone of the battle shifted once again. It was no longer just who had the better lyrics. It became about truth and truth. As fans quickly learned, doesn't play fair, because that night an anonymous account leaked unseen. Footage of Crawford and J. Cole in a studio from back in February, quietly working on a track that was never released. The caption read, "They tried to bury this." Why? And that question haunted fans. Why was it never released? What changed? Theories flew. Some said Cole backed out under pressure. Others said Drake's team intervened. But the footage made one thing undeniable. Crawford wasn't bluffing when he said Cole walked away. And once again, the crowd turned. Part 3 ends with the world watching two men, two kings in their own lanes, standing at the edge of something bigger than music or boxing, because this isn't just beef anymore. This is a battle for legacy, and legacies don't get decided in verses. They get remembered in echoes. Everything had come to a head. The battles weren't just lyrical anymore. The weight of legacy, loyalty, and respect pressed down on both sides like concrete. And as fans argued in comment sections and reaction videos, both camps went silent again. For a moment, it seemed like the storm had passed. But storms don't pass quietly in this world. And just when fans thought the drama had peaked, Terrence Crawford held a private listening party in Omaha. No influencers, no labels, no industry guests. Just close friends, family, and a few trusted media outlets. What they heard wasn't just another diss track. It was something completely different. A full album, not a surprise. 10-track project titled 10 Rounds of Silence, entirely written and performed by Crawford. Not every track was about Drake, but the wounds were there. The betrayal, the pain. It was raw, stripped-down storytelling, with spoken word interludes and even voice notes from his cousin. The same young boxer allegedly disrespected by OVO months ago, and in the final track, Count Me Out, Crawford delivered what some now call the most heartbreaking verse of the entire saga. I fought for belts, for names, for peace. You fought for charts and made pain look sleek. I ain't mad, it's not asleep, 'cause when the love fake, the silence speaks. You could hear a pin drop in that room. According to one journalist in attendance, grown men teared up. Not because it was a diss, but because it felt like closure. Crawford wasn't just punching anymore. He was processing, healing, and exposing himself in a way that no one, not even Drake, saw coming, but just as the internet began to crown him the unlikely voice of truth. Drake responded not with a freestyle, not with a song, with a documentary trailer. Yes, a trailer posted to his YouTube channel. The 3-minute teaser was titled Undisputed Silence. It featured slow-motion shots of Drake walking through Toronto at night, interspersed with clips of boxing matches, rap battles, and grainy home videos from his early days on Degrassi. The voiceover, unmistakably Drake, double quotes, sometimes, Silence says more than bars, and sometimes the ring is bigger than music. This isn't about a verse, it's about what comes after. Fans were stunned. Was this a retreat? Or was it the setup for a bigger message? Praised the move, calling it mature and reflective. Others mocked it, saying Drake had dodged a lyrical fade by turning it into a cinematic monologue. But the real twist came at the end of the trailer. A final frame flashed on screen featuring unreleased vocals from Kendrick Lamar. Yes, Kendrick, the same man Drake had gone head-to-head with just months earlier. The same man who Crawford was being compared to for the past 2 weeks. The inclusion was either an olive branch or a direct shot at Crawford, and fans lost their minds. Was Kendrick siding with Drake now? Was this a betrayal? Or just a strategic move to reclaim the narrative? Within hours, Kendrick's name trended worldwide, and though he didn't speak publicly, sources close to Teed claimed the vocals Drake used were licensed, but outdated, recorded years ago for a shelved project. Still, it was enough to send Crawford's fans into a frenzy. One of them tweeted, "If Kendrick really let Drake use old verses just to spite Bud, we need to retire the word real from rap." Meanwhile, Crawford didn't flinch. He went live that night, calmly addressing the situation. "It don't matter whose voice you borrow," he said. "If your own voice ain't enough, you already lost." The quote went viral. was shared by countless fans, artists, even NBA players. Kyrie Irving posted it to his story, tagging Crawford and writing, "Stand on that." And then, something totally unexpected happened. Drake's father, Dennis Graham, went live on his own Instagram, cigar in hand. Music low in the background, clearly trying to bring levity. "Look, man," he said with a chuckle. "My son's an artist. Buds. A fighter. Both talented. But y'all gotta chill. This ain't World War III. It's a lil lyrical exercise." But in the comments of that very same live, Crawford's cousin, the young amateur boxer who allegedly started this whole mess, typed a message that would only escalate things. If we wanted respect, they gave us jokes. Now we giving M. Scars. The live ended shortly after. And again, the internet split in two. On one side, fans begged for peace. On the other, supporters fueled the chaos, demanding more tracks, more responses. More fire. But behind the scenes, industry execs were panicking. Rumors swirled that sponsors were pulling deals from both sides due to ongoing conflict. At least 2 sportswear brands reportedly froze pending contracts with Crawford. And Drake's team, according to a leaked email, started vetting future releases for anything connected to unresolved public disputes. But even in the middle of the corporate mess, the fans stayed hungry, and they got fed again when Crawford made one final move: a pop-up concert held on Omaha's downtown district. No stage, just Crawford a mic, and a crowd of nearly 5,000 people who showed up with less than 12 hours' notice. He performed Buried Gloves, Count Me Out. And for the first time ever, a brand new spoken word piece titled "This Is My Hook Now." It wasn't aggressive. It wasn't boastful. It was vulnerable. "I didn't want war. I wanted to speak," he said into the mic. But when the world only listens to power, the powerless gotta scream. And he'd been quiet too long. He ended the show without a mic drop. Just walked off. Stage, no words, no music, nothing. Just silence. The crowd stood there, motionless. No one even reached for their phones. It was bigger than beef now. This was history. As Part 4 ends, both men have said their piece through songs, statements, symbolism. But there's no clear winner. No clean ending. Just a world changed by a conflict no one saw coming. Because Terrence Crawford didn't just go full Kendrick. He became something else entirely. He became undeniable. So now, here we are. What started as a lyrical jab from a world champion turned into a full-blown cultural earthquake. Terrence Crawford didn't just call Drake out. He dragged an entire industry into the ring and forced it to take a side. From subtle lines to soul-bearing verses, from leaked footage to family involvement, from viral bars to emotional closures. The battle blurred every line between sport and art, pride and pain, silence and scream. And yet, no clear winner has emerged. Drake, with his calculated calm and cinematic response, may have sidestepped the brawl, or maybe he's just playing the long game. Crawford, raw and relentless, left a mark not just on hip-hop, but on the very idea of what it means to fight with words instead of fists. But now it's your turn. What do you think really happened behind the scenes? Was Drake genuinely caught off guard, or did he choose silence as a strategy? Did Crawford just become the most unexpected voice in rap, or was this all a well-timed power move? And most importantly, who do you think walked away with the crown? Let us know in the comments below. We want to hear your theories, your hot takes, your breakdowns. No holding back. Don't forget to like this video if you were shocked even once. And if you made it all the way through this drama, hit that subscribe button because we've got more wild stories coming. And trust us, they only get crazier. From here until next time, stay tuned, stay loud, and stay ready. Because in this world, beef never really ends. It just goes quiet till the next verse drops.